Good morning, folks. Welcome aboard another day of Building Evie. Today is all about the Fairleads, and yeah, it was rather torturous to put this one together, remembering everything that went wrong. So, well, enjoy, hopefully. Well, you might remember a little while ago, then you were in this position watching me drill a hole by hand here, and I did that, and the drill bit broke off. It was the first thing that I was going to drill. It was right at the front there, and so anyway, after much sort of deliberating and what have you, uh, well, somebody, Terry, the man who's doing my canvas, very kindly lent me a mag drill. Now, a mag drill is an electromagnetic drill. It's magnetized onto the hull only when you flip a switch. But so having that in my hand and what have you, then it makes sure that you can obviously drill a dead straight hole. So knowing that I had this as a tool, then I spoke to a number of different people. David and Matt, my blacksmith friends, very handy folks to know. I think Dave actually was the man that finally, well, it was a discussion, but I'm pretty sure that it was Dave that came up with the idea of the mini diamond core drills or diamond drills that are generally used for glass or porcelain tiles. But I got core ones because I just thought that would be, well, I don't know. It seemed like they were. It seemed like the way to go. My dad mentioned that obviously a tube will hopefully go straight a bit better than a cylinder will. But anyway, so it went fairly easily with that actually, and I just got on with it and gently went through the drill bit that had broken off. The drill bit that had broken off was one of these combined drill and tap things, which I now understand their uses better. It's another classic case of Jeremy seeing something and thinking, "Oh, that's a great idea." Unfortunately, I wasn't quite through the drilling portion when the threading portion started, so obviously those two things didn't meet well together, and that was why the bit broke. But I used the pillar drill or the mag drill on the other side because I had it, and so that made sense. And then I thought, well, I've done the Fairlead. You can see in the background on the top left the Fairlead on Tilly. I did that some time ago by hand, and so I thought, right, well, I'll just do these ones by hand because they'll be relatively straightforward. Now, what I didn't appreciate was that right here on this boat, then I was about 20 mil in. Don't ask me why, but that's how long my bolts are for these Fairleads. And yeah, I'll come back to that later. But these, so I was drilling into the. I guess I'm drilling into the edge of the tumble home because the bit that goes up the side of the boat. But anyway, eventually, then I got in there, and this is me using a drill to as a tap or a tap wrench, which you can do if you're careful and if you've got your hole straight and so on. I find that, well, generally speaking, if I'm worried about it being a bit too tight or what have you, then I'll go back to using a hand tap wrench because I'm less likely to screw it up. So I like to put a bit of silicone underneath the bolt head as well as on the threads, if you see what I mean, where you saw me do earlier. So that's the first one done, and on to the next one, I suppose. So measure that down, and that was a good way of finding the centres. I found was I had a drill bit that was just the right size to go through the Fairlead, and obviously that made a nice divot where I wanted to put the holes, and so that was quite an easy way of doing things. And there we go. I've just broken a drill bit in there, and as I mentioned earlier, these are about 20 mil deep, and so I tried lots of things to get this out, and failed. So then I went to the other side, and well, unsurprisingly, I went and got the mag drill, which takes a lot longer to set up and what have you, but if it means that I don't screw it up, then it seemed like it was a worthwhile thing, because putting something right after it's gone wrong takes, well, a lot longer than just doing it very slowly and doing it right in the first place. Um, I do. Well, we will come back to that drill bit that I've broken after this. So this is the forward one of these on this side, and unfortunately I made a well, I just didn't move the camera or something, I think, and so we haven't got any footage of me going through the hassles with the next one, but I used the mag drill again. Some visitors came to say hello. They've done very well. They've got 7 kids still, those cygnets, those mum and dad swans. So anyway, that one went in where it's supposed to go, and then I measured out the other one, and as I say, no footage of that, so you're spared that. I then tried to tap these ones. That one wasn't really working, so I went for it by hand, and that was okay. But then obviously nothing to do. So my dad was here doing some other stuff, and we tried tacking something onto the end of what was in there, and unfortunately it just broke off. So I ordered some more mini diamond core bits, and so there were, I think I bought 8 of these, and well, it's just a question of going very slowly with this, because it's very easy to apply lots of pressure, because it's a pillar drill, so you're turning things, and you can just very easily apply too much pressure. So I was trying to go very, very slowly. Here I'd broken one of the mini diamond core bits, and so anyway, I tried lots of things, from sticking a screw down the middle of it, sticking sticking a tap down the middle of it, magnets. In the end, then I think a combination of all the things, and some needle nose pliers, I managed to get it out, and so then back to the thing of going through this drill bit that's in here broken off, and well, I did knacker the hole a bit with this. I think I wasn't quite in the middle of the bit, and so it's a bit looser than it would like to be. I think probably I was drilling 3.2mm holes, and I read somewhere that in steel then you can drill 3.5mm holes. Basically, it comes down to how hard the material is that you're drilling into, and what you're threading and what it's doing, and so on and so forth. So anyway, I was up to a 3.5mm drill bit, and the hole is not as good as it could be on that last one. So it hasn't got as much biting thread, but I've thought about it, and a Fairlead, the bolt on a Fairlead is pretty much only being used in shear. So I'm not planning on kind of hoisting the boat by Fairleads. So I've decided that that's okay. Oh, don't use insulation tape as a thing. The blue frog tape stuff is really good, and that comes off quite easily, but basically any tape that you leave out in the sunshine seems to leave a horrible residue. I ended up with white spirit to get that stuff off. Anyway, and then you must be thinking, what's this? He's still got more? Well, yes. These are some little pop-up things that I think will make life easier for temporarily sort of holding the boat in place on lock landings and things. So these are just, I haven't got any pictures of me doing the other side because it was a bit late, and so you just have to make do with the one, but there is one of these on the other side as well. They have some M6 bolts, which I mean I could that bolt, which isn't particularly good on the last Fairlead, I could up that to an M5, and but as I say, I think it'll be all right. So they're only M4s, so if they were strong, then they would obviously need to be more than M4s in the first place. I did speak to one of the chaps in the yard, and obviously in the first place he wouldn't have made the mistake of breaking drill bits, but he also said that he would just kind of weld them up and drill holes in new places, which would be exactly the thing to do if you were doing it professionally, whatever. But it's only my own time, and I want things where I want them, and it would just annoy me if I didn't have them the way I wanted them. So to me, it's worth my time to get it the way I want it. So having watched all of that lot, you may be wondering why. So I've got a fair lead here, a fair lead here. My centre line points are not in the middle. Well, I do have one in the middle as well, but that's not where I wanted it. So they put some extra ones on. So I wanted these here because under the extra solar panels and stuff, then it makes it easier to just have two centre lines. And because these are further forward, because of what the solar mounts are expected to be, then I wanted a fair lead here and there, so that then when you're pulling from the bank, then you have a fulcrum here, which just makes turning the boat a bit easier and stuff while you're handling it. These ones are my, well, I'm going to have to do it with my right hand because that's the way it works, but they pop up, and just for temporarily securing the boat while you're on a lock landing or something, so not for like permanent mooring or whatever, but those will be really useful. I've seen a couple of people have a T stud on the top of their boat and use that for the same purpose. It's just a useful thing, I think. So there we go. Hopefully, well, I don't think anybody's learned anything from that, but hopefully it was vaguely fun to watch. Take care. See you soon.